And as women, it is so important that we see this situation with Charlie Kirk, who was killed. We see this situation as an opportunity to step even more into our voice, to open up our throat and to really speak our truth, because that is so important when it comes to creating generational change.
You know the vibe. All spice, no sugar. Let's get into it.
All right, beautiful soul, welcome back to another episode on the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. And this one, honestly, I don't normally comment on stuff that's going on in the world, yet I feel so deeply called to speak into this topic. And by the time that this episode is being posted, it will have probably been some time from that the thing that I'm going to talk about in this podcast is going to be, it's going to be some time. And also, I know it's so relevant because it's a very fucking big worldly topic, and that is cancel culture. And it's not a new topic, but it's something that's escalated so deeply in the past few weeks and months since the recent killing of Charlie Kirk. And like I said, this is not something that I normally speak into, yet I feel so pulled to talk into this because of the widespread message that this is sending to the entire world. And what I feel with this is, and when I was writing my notes for the podcast filming this session, it's like obviously all the episodes are with the intent for you to grow your business and for things for you to implement the tangibility of it. Yet also I was being so called to speak into this topic and reminded that this podcast is not only for you to learn to grow, but for also it to be a platform of speaking the truth. And what I've noticed is when I was writing my notes for this podcast episode, I was getting so emotionally invested into this topic because it's such a big topic that I feel that there's so many layers to it. With the recent death of Charlie Kirk, it's as if cancel culture has gone from you losing your Instagram account or having your name tarnished or losing out on a brand deal. It's gone from losing your Instagram account to literally losing your fucking life. And if you don't see how Charlie Kirk's death was a message to the world, you're asleep. And it's time to wake the fuck up, to actually realize what this one incident is rippling into the collective consciousness. Because here's the thing, Charlie Kirk was the literal embodiment of freedom of speech. And not to say that I agree with what he spoke about. Heck, I actually didn't even really know who he was until he was shot. And it started this massive fucking uproar in communities all around the world. And the play that I see is this, and it is a collective play of conformity, of fear, of having people shut themselves into a little box and for mainstream and widespread control from the system. Because Charlie Kirk, like I said, regardless of what he spoke into, regardless of whether you stood left or right or you agreed with what he said or not, it doesn't matter, because he was the embodiment of freedom of speech. He fully fucking said what he thought, and he was so convicted in his message, and that's what made him who he was him just being so polarizing in his opinion and standing his ground. And whatever feathers that ruffled, that he wouldn't give a fuck. He would share his truth, and he was the living, breathing human example of freedom of speech. And the fact that he has now been executed, not just randomly, but in front of thousands of people, and even worse than that, in front of his own child and wife, what the actual fuck is going on here? It's insane that this has happened. Mainstream media has allowed this to be seen globally. And if you can't see if that's a message to the world, then it's time to really pull the veil from your little box that you've been living in. And because what I see in this is this has been a message. Like, it's not just a fucking tragedy. It is a tragedy. The whole situation around it is so mortifying and horrible. And it's shown me how intense this is by the fact that I actually even am speaking up about this, because normally I'm not even connected to what's going on in the global world. But I'm just like, I'm in what I'm doing. I'm in my own bubble. But this has sparked a fucking uproar in me. And that's why I wanted to bring it onto the podcast. Because it was a message. It was a message from the system, from the matrix, to shut the fuck up and to go into your little box. And it was a message to place fear around the community for people to conform to society. And now this is creating a spiritual revolution and a spiritual war. Like, this is like indicative of a spiritual warfare. And I was talking to a friend the other day, speaking about how, like, we've gone through the industrial revolution, we've gone through the AI revolution. I'm like, now this is even bigger and on a greater scale is spiritual revolution. And I see this, like, the widespread circulation of the video of him actually being executed was intentional. Like, you can't tell me, like, the chokehold that social media has on the entire world is real, and they can choose what they do and what they don't want to show. Like, within a matter of minutes, they can shut down what's being shown to the world. Yet they allowed the footage of his death to circulate for quite a long period of time to further deepen and anchor that fear into the collective consciousness. This was a intentional message and those people that have watched it. It was an intentional message to embed in the collective psyche that if you speak your truth, you will die. And for a period of time, our subconscious mind has, through societal norms, has made us believe that if we speak our mind, we will die. Like, so many people go into that survival mechanism of, if I speak my truth, then I'll be, disconnected from the world. I'll be shut off from my friends and family. They'll judge me, blah, blah, blah. But now it's just gone to a whole nother level, because there's been a physical representation that speaking your truth will actually result in you dying. So I see this as a widespread message to send people into fear, into constriction, into conformity, to shut people off from actually speaking their voice and actually sharing their truth, and instead just follow the rules, just play safe, draw within the lines. And this is like literally fear, as like the system is leveraging fear as a mechanism of control on a greater scale. And we've seen this through the last few years, even COVID. Like, we all know by now that was a mechanism to put people into fear, to control the wider community, to control on a global fucking scale. Like, yes, it was a disease. And also how we lived through that was literally systemic fear, putting us into a state of control to see how easily the fucking globe can be controlled by the matrix, by the system. And this shit is actually just going to start to speed up, because as a collective conscious, we are now shifting into a serious time in humanity, like a pivotal moment in humanity, where more people are starting to wake up, where more people are starting to have the veil lifted from them and actually see the truth, see what's actually playing out, and to find sovereignty within themselves. Because the biggest threat to any system is independence and is sovereignty. So now that as more people are starting to claim their self and to be self-led and to fully listen to their soul and to step into that level of independence and sovereignty, the more that people are doing that, and the more that people are speaking up, and the more that people are stepping out of the matrix, that is actually causing more havoc to create more separation. So the people who are in it, they are stuck in it through levels of deep-seated fear of things like this happening. This is like how people associate with speaking up is now literally associated with violence, with danger, and literal death. And this is crazy how we've gone from cancel cancel culture. Like you think of like Kanye, right? When he started speaking up and talking about this stuff, he got canceled. Cool. He went through that whole period of being canceled, but at least he didn't die, depending on what conspiracy theory you're fucking going down. But at least he wasn't shot in front of thousands of people, in front of his family and his wife. Like that's fucked, that this level of influence that the system is now driving to send a message. Like it's a clear message for you to literally shut the fuck up and sit down. And it's crazy that we've gone through this evolution. And the thing, like the scary thing is it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get more intense. And it's ramping up as we begin to become more consciously aware of what's playing out. And it's crazy. It's like you think like, fuck me, like this cancel culture thing, it's gone from literally deleting your Instagram to deleting your whole entire life, and the social media will literally stream it live in HD for you. Like I can't like think it. Can you even think about a time when that level of violence has been showcased globally? No. Like, because social media has always had control of what the world sees. So if you think for a minute that it was accidental, you're literally lying to yourself. This is a clear message that the system is driving for you to be placed into fear, for you to be placed into conformity. And this is a collective play to keep people complacent. And this is going to be the escalation of the war of truth and the spiritual revolution. And I think now it's a more important time to speak up, because what's going to happen is people are going to be so scared to speak their truth and to really showcase their voice. And I've been going through my own wormhole recently to be called forward to speak louder, to actually share my truth. And it's this wild experience that I've been journeying as the collective conscious is also journeying this freedom of speech concept. Is, I've built my business quite successfully speaking into messaging, branding, business. And I love that. And I love all of those things. And that's still my soul mission. But I cannot ignore this deeper underlying factor of me speaking my truth and really bringing to light all of these conversations, because a past version of me would be like, oh, but that's not on brand. That's not related to my business. How is talking about Charlie Kirk dying in the fucking Matrix related to my business? But you will see that if you go back to the very first episode that I ran of the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast, was literally like we're in a fucking simulation. And I set out this podcast, it's called Don't Sugarcoat It, because it's an invitation for me to share my truth and for you who are listening to receive that and to start to think independently, to be sovereign, to question your reality, to question your program, so you can actually create from your own self-concept rather than the programs and the systems and the blueprints that you've been embedded from the moment that you literally took your first breath on this earth. And this is such an important thing. And if you want to be successful in your business, you have to learn to speak your truth. You have to learn to think independently, because that's the key thing that's going to separate you from the crowd, so you can actually go forward and create the life that you know that you are here to do. There are so many people beginning to wake up to their soul gifts, and this is the way forward in business. This is the way forward in actually paving movements, leading movements, helping people actually change their life. Is never going to come from you dulling your light, from you dimming your soul gifts, from you, turning the dial up on the fucking sugarness of you speaking your truth. That's only going to create more brand damage, and instead owning your truth. And that's why for me, I'm like, cool, when I speak into being led by the soul, being led by energetics, I mean it, because here's the thing is, you can copy anyone else, but it's never going to get you to a place of fulfillment and sovereignty and independence. And we need more people with more money who think independently. So the game can actually be changed, so more people can wake up, so more impact can be created. This is such an important topic, and I really want you to land with this is, where are you not speaking up out of fear of judgment or conformity of what other people are thinking? Because that's the very thing, that's the gateway for you to step into your next level. And it's also the same gate that's keeping you stuck in your own jail and stuck in the jail of society. So the more that you close off your voice and shut your voice, and the thing is, like, every single client that I work with, well, I'm going to say 95% of clients that I work with have a throat chakra block. And this is generational trauma, because especially as women, we have been told for generations to sit down, be quiet, shut up, just look pretty, do as you're told. So now more than ever, it's time for us to actually clear that fucking throat chakra, activate the throat chakra, release the blocks to speak our truth, because that shift is what's actually going to heal generational trauma. Not you sitting and meditating on your fucking navel or doing the activation, like doing manifestations and activation work. It's the actual deep healing processes of you recognizing where your blocks are, because I guarantee as a woman, you've gone through the people pleasing, you've gone through not using your voice or letting people speak over the top of you, or you've gone through being told to sit down, be quiet and shut up and just be a good girl. You've gone through that. Like, it's a natural experience as a woman to experience that. And it's one of our biggest one of our biggest wounds that we need to heal in order to actually lead the next generation of women to come. Because this, yes, of course, is about creating change in our now reality. Yes, this is about creating change in our life in this now moment. But bigger than that is the ripple effect. It's the impact. It's what our children will grow up as. Because the crazy fucking thing is my best friend right now is currently over in Italy, right? She's currently over in Italy. And the other day I was on the phone to her. It was like midnight here in Australia. And I was on the phone to her because she was going through this, this really scary experience where she was literally in this life or death fight or flight response out of the fear of potentially being fucking abducted. It's scary. It's scary. And we're having this conversation, and the person that she's dating was like, oh, obviously he's a man, that's I'm sorry that happened to you. And it's like, no, it's fucked that this is a collective experience that women go through, is that feeling of being shut down, told to be quiet. That is not okay. And as women, it is so important that we see this situation with Charlie Kirk, who was killed. We see this situation as an opportunity to step even more into our voice, to open up our throat and to really speak our truth, because that is so important when it comes to creating generational change and actually healing ourselves, so our children, our daughters can stand up for themselves, to speak their truth and actually lead from a place of full embodiment, rather than living out of scarcity, living in fear and just doing what the society tells us to do. Because I don't know about you, but I am never going to let myself fall into the restraints of what the Matrix has made out. Like, I just think of that and look, the way I see it and the way that I see my past life is I was a bird being trapped in a fucking jail. Or a cage. I was a bird trapped in a cage. And the minute that I've been able to open up my voice and to speak my truth and even say shit that's polarizing and be okay with it, has allowed me to feel so much more free, to flow, to rise, to completely change my fucking life. And the more that you shut that energy down, and this plays into everything. I'm not just talking about business, but also like relationships. Past version of me, the relationship of closing down my voice and not speaking killed that relationship. You not speaking is killing you. You not sharing your voice is killing the impact that you're here to create. You not speaking is killing you. I want that to land for you. Even though we've had the embodiment of freedom of speech, as a representation and a message from the universe, from the fucking system, from the matrix to shut up and sit down. Now is the time to do the complete opposite, to speak louder, to share our truth, to share our voice, and be so convicted in regardless of what polarizing manner that comes with. Because this is the key thing that's going to actually continue to escalate the collective conscious awakening to actually create widespread impact and to disconnect from the matrix and completely step into a level of conscious awareness and conscious embodiment and a world of just more fucking conscious humans rather than a world of conformity. Whoa. I didn't even know what fucking vortex I just went into. I think I just spoke to the camera for like 20 minutes straight, but obviously you can tell the passion in my voice when I'm speaking about this topic, because I just want this to be an invitation for you. If you haven't been speaking your truth, if you've been diluting your message, if you've been sugarcoating it, girl, if you've been sugarcoating what you actually want to say on social media, this is an invitation for you to step into that loud and fucking proud. And this is so interesting for me to do this podcast right now, because the other day I was creating content around this, being like, cool, I'm showing up in my business in a particular way, but the truth is I'm actually still not harnessing my voice. I'm actually still playing it small. I'm diluting my message. And the truth is I want to speak into these topics. I want to be a leader and someone who has a polarizing voice and opinion. I desire, and I'm stepping into and claiming the voice of the collective conscious for women to really start to create ownership of their own sovereignty and be independent and claim the space that they are in and fully embody that, free from judgment, free from guilt, free from shame. That is the archetype, and the woman that I'm stepping into is really activating and sharing my gifts and sharing my voice, because I want women to feel safe to express. This is the space. This is what I want to talk about in this podcast. So that's going to wrap up this episode. I think I've yapped, and I know that you felt this in your soul, and I know that you've probably been thinking for a while, damn, I am playing small and I'm not really sharing what I truly am here to say. Then this is your invitation. If you're listening to this, there is no fucking coincidence. There is absolutely no coincidence that you're listening to this. So take this as a sign for you to lean deeper into your voice, to really share your truth and be fucking polarizing and convicted in your message. You're welcome. And if you want a space to support you in fully transforming your message, your life and your purpose, then I would love to invite you into my world. By now, you probably know that I have my 3-day transformational event where you will fully be able to release those parts of you that are keeping you stuck and keeping you small. My coaching programs are designed to not only lead you into scaling your business online, but for you to actually dial in on your message, to claim ownership of your purpose and really commence that ripple effect to lead the people that you're here to lead, to impact the people that you're here to impact. It's about embodying your purpose and fully stepping into that and in a level of ownership that is going to generate you cash flow, that's going to generate you the life that you know that you're here to do. Whether it is money that you want to make, whether it's impact, whether it's contribution, whether it's freedom, I don't give a fuck. It all starts with you claiming your voice and sharing and speaking your truth, regardless of what's happening in the world. The more that you can claim it, despite the spiritual warfare that's being playing out right now, it's time to wake up. It's time to lift the veil between you and the next level. It's time to lift the veil between what's actually playing out. This is your invitation to lean in, to speak, to be loud, and to be unapologetically outspoken. So again, if you're hearing this and if you're listening to this episode, there is absolutely no coincidence that it's now your invitation to speak your truth. So my love, my question is to you, what are you not sharing today that is on your heart and is in your voice? What are you not sharing today? And my task is for you to go and share that fucking message. All right, my beautiful soul. Thank you for listening to another episode on the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. If you like this style and if you like hearing me spit some truth and fire, please comment, please share, please follow, because just one simple like and one simple follow can go so far in how much more message, like how much more impact this podcast can make. So thank you. I love you. And I'll see you in the next episode of the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. Bye.